we'll continue to troubleshoot with Patricia, but we do have quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. It is 9:16. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jovita Dominguez. I've been appointed by Governor Newsom, and we are having the ELC and licensing. We have President Trujillo.
My name is Dolores Trujillo. I am the current president of the board. I was appointed by Governor Newsom to fulfill the direct care provider role.
And then EO Loretta Melby.
Thank you. I am Loretta or Lori Melby. I'm the board's executive officer appointed by the board. And then just so that it is recorded and on the messaging, we do have Patricia Wynn. She is a board member. She's having some technical difficulties. She is in attendance. We do have quorum, and we will be have board staff work with her to get her up and able to participate in the meeting as we move forward. So appreciate that. Additionally, Reza Pejuesh, our board's legal counsel, is out today. And we do have Grace that is filling in. So I'm going to let Grace introduce herself. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Grace Arupo Rodriguez here, Assistant Deputy Director for DCA and filling in for Reza.
Thank you, Grace. And then Mary Ann will.
Hi, good morning. Mary Ann McCarthy. I am a supervising nursing education consultant, and I am the liaison to the Education and Licensing Committee.
And Mary Ann, could you lead us on, I believe we have to open it up for public comment.
Yes.
Thank you, sorry.
No worries.
BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
All right. Well, let's do the welcome script first before we do that. Good morning. This is the BRN moderator. We'll be moderating the meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the committee reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature, which is now known as Slido, will be turned on, and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. We will also query our in-person location. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then proceed to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature, now known as Slido, is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. When your turn comes, you will be prompted to unmute. If your question can be answered, the committee will respond accordingly. When making your comment, speak about anything you believe is important for the members to know. Remember, committee members cannot address any item not on the agenda, items not in the agenda at that moment, and items that you would like to add to a future meeting or items that will be discussed later on in the agenda will be discussed at their correct times during the meeting. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when committee members or BRN staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will mute your microphone automatically. Now we can go to public comment. 1 second, please. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Stacy would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Oops, sorry, wrong Stacy. Hold on 1 second. Stacy, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Simons. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I'm wondering if we will be able to address the question of problems on the website trying to get our independent practice.
So Stacy, this is Lori, I'm the board's executive officer. This is the Education Licensing Committee meeting, and if it's not on the agenda, we're only able to hear you in public comment and decide whether or not we put you on a future agenda. This seems to be a larger and more pressing issue than to have you wait till the next Education Licensing Committee meeting. That would not be held until I think the next one is in October. So at that point, what I would ask you to do is send me an email. My email is Loretta, Loretta Melby, MELB as in boy, Y, at dca.ca.gov. You can also find that email address on our board's website. If you go to rn.ca.gov, on the bottom right-hand side, there's a executive leadership. You can click on that, go inside, and you'll be able to click and see my email address. Send me an email with the issues, and I will work with our chief of licensing to get that addressed. And we'll respond promptly to your email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in our in-person location in Sacramento?
We are told that there is nobody in attendance at
Okay.
the Sacramento location.
Okay, so I will announce that every time we do this and until I'm told different.
Exactly,
Perfect.
unless it changes. Thank you.
Perfect. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Marianne, would you lead us, please? Oh, actually, we'll do 3.0. Review. Does any members have questions about the April 17th, 2025 meeting minutes?
No, I don't.
So I would like to make a motion to accept the ELC meeting minutes from April 17, 2025, and allow BRN staff to make non-substantive changes to correct names, misspelling, and or typos that may be discovered in the document. Do I have a second?
Yes, I second it. This is Dolores Trujillo.
Okay. Loretta, do we go to public comment? Okay,
Please.
BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Sorry, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
this takes us to 4.0. Marianne, would you lead us, please?
Did we take a motion and a vote on
Wait.
that?
Oh my goodness, thank you,
Minutes.
Marianne. I, Jovita Dominguez votes yes.
Could you
President
read the
Trujillo?
motion, please, Jovita, on the
Oh,
screen,
read the motion again?
please?
Motion to accept ELC meeting minutes from April 17th and allow BRN staff to make non-substantive changes to correct name, misspellings, and/or typos that may be discovered in the document. We had a first and a second, and I Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
and do we have Trisha Wynn?
Not yet, we do not, and so we can continue to move forward.
Okay, motion carries.
All right,
Now we will be
I'm here.
4.0.
Thank you. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to bring to your attention a typo. It's actually a switch between two. So if you'll look at the agenda to 4.2.5 and 4.2.6, these are both consent agenda items. One is for West Coast, which is a continuing approval, and one is for University of St. Augustine, which is an initial approval. And what is backwards is the programs that the tracks that they have in their NP. Okay, so West Coast has 4 tracks: the FNP, the Adult Gero Acute Care NP, Adult Gero Primary NP, and a Psych Mental Health NP. So on the agenda, West Coast is missing the Adult Gero Acute Care. Okay, down on United States, no, I'm sorry, not United States, United University of St. Augustine. They have 4 listed, and they should have only 3. So they have the Adult Gero Primary Nurse Practitioner, and they have the Psych Mental Health Nurse Practitioner, and the Family Nurse Practitioner. So the extra one is the AGA CNP, which should have been removed from St. Augustine and put onto West Coast.
The
And
meeting
if that
materials
makes
are
the
correct,
meeting
though.
yes, the meeting materials
Meeting
are all
materials
correct.
are correct, and we
Thank
will
you.
have this typo corrected by the time it goes to the board.
Yes.
So you can still make your recommendation to accept this if that's what you choose to do so. And then when we get to full board, it will have the corrected agenda item with the typo corrected. And that way the board can make the official ratification of your recommendation without an issue.
Okay, so with that said, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to go on to 4.1 because that takes all the consent agenda items into account. So discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend ratification of minor curriculum revisions and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports, and whether to recommend ratification of clinical facility approval or other action. So according to board policy, nursing education consultants may review curricular changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objectives, or content, and programs can implement as needed prior to board approval. Nursing programs shall not utilize any agency or facility for clinical experience without prior approval of the board. Each program must submit evidence that it has complied with the requirements set forth by the board and shall only assign students to facilities that can provide the experiences necessary to meet the program's written objectives and student learning outcomes. These requests on these lists are then reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board for approval. The BRN staff have received and reviewed all documentation for program requests listed in agenda items 1.4. Information, I'm sorry, 4.1. Totally flipped around here. 4.1. We're only in 4.1. Information on these requests are on the list provided in your materials, and these are consent agenda items. Thank you.
Before you move forward with this really quick, I just wanted to correct kind of a word usage right there. It said recommend ratification. We need to recommend approval. The board will then ratify your recommendation when it goes to board. The ratifying can be ratifying a denial or approval or anything. It doesn't make the actual action. So you guys will still need to recommend approval on this, and I believe that shows on the motion. So that's just a word that was probably misplaced. So thank you guys for that.
I don't have any questions. Jovita, do you? Okay.
No, I don't. We can go through the motion now if we're good. Okay. I would like to recommend approval of the proposed curriculum revision and clinical facilities and to acknowledge the receipt of programs progress reports. Do I have a second?
Yes, this is
Okay.
Dolores Trujillo.
BRN moderator, could you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. When I give a reminder as your time approaches, I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and will move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I reread the motion? Okay, I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 4.2. Discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend approval, acceptance, or other action for approved nursing programs. There are 2 sections to this today. One is continuing approval of pre-licensure programs, and one is continuing approval and initial approval of advanced practice nurse practitioner nursing programs. The BRN staff have received and reviewed all documentation for program requests listed in the agenda's items 4.2.1 through 4.2.7. Information on these requests is on the list provided in your materials packet. These programs have met all board rules and regulations related to the request and are consent agenda items. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Dolores.
That's okay. I was just going to say I don't have any questions.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to recommend continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs, continuing and initial approval of advanced practice nurse practitioner nursing programs, items 4.2.1 through 4.2.6. Do I have a second?
Yes, this is Dolores Trujillo.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I would like to vote yes. Jovita Dominguez, President Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Agenda item 5.1. Discussion and possible action regarding pre-licensure nursing programs that are in non-compliance. The board shall prepare and maintain a list of board-approved nursing schools in California whose graduates, if they have the other if they have the necessary qualifications, shall be eligible to apply for licensure to practice in the state of California. The executive officer delegates the board inspection of these programs and requires written reports of the visits to be assigned to nursing education consultants. At the conclusion of the comprehensive program review, the reports are presented to by the NEC to the board, which will subsequently approve those nursing programs who meet the requirements provided by the board. Upon receiving the report, if the board determines that any board-approved nursing school is not maintaining the standard required by the board, a written notice specifying the noncompliance shall be immediately given to the school. If the noncompliances are not corrected within a reasonable time, the board may remove the approval of the nursing school and provide written notice of this board action. So the following schools are in noncompliance. 5.1.1, discussion and action regarding a pre-licensure nursing program in noncompliance. This is Merritt College Associate Degree Nursing Program. They have been in noncompliance for over 2 years now.
Real quick before we
Information-
moved on, Mary, I'm
sorry.
just gonna ask you to pause for one second. This is the area of our agenda where we do have discussion with our programs, and I need to ask Jovita and Dolores, do you guys want to take a few minute break to allow Trisha to join? Or are you guys comfortable with moving forward at this point? This is where we will have discussions with the schools. Dolores, I'm not able to hear you. If you could come off mute.
Sorry about that. I would like Trisha to join, and I wouldn't mind a few minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that.
thank you. So at this point, we are asking to take a break. Do you want to break until 10 a.m.? That is a 20 minutes to allow us to do that, or do you want to try to see 10:50? That's about 12 minutes. I did just get an update that we are almost there. Matt says we are very close. So if you want to break till 9:45, we can do that, 9:50 or 10 o'clock. It's up to you guys.
Why don't we do 10? That'll allow her to
Come on, and
maybe
Mike,
take
video
us
check.
quick
Perfect.
quick break herself.
Thank you, guys.
right.
We will take a quick break until 10 o'clock to allow Trisha to join, where we will open up the discussions of the next items on our agenda. Thank you guys very much.
Vita, would you like to restart the meeting and establish a quorum?
We do need
Yes,
to elevate, we need to elevate Grace. She's in the attendees. Thank you. Now you can go ahead and start, Jovita.
Okay, we're back from our break. I'd like to establish quorum. I, Jovita Dominguez, am present. President Trujillo
Dolores Trujillo present.
and Trisha Wynn.
Trisha Wynn, finally present. Thank you.
No problem. And EO Melby
I am present as well.
and Marianne McCarthy.
I'm still here. Did we lose Trisha's video?
No, I'm here.
No,
No,
Trisha's
No,
there.
she's
your
there.
camera stopped.
Yeah.
I'm on twice. I'm on
Yeah,
audio and
it's
I'm on
working
video.
for
No,
me.
your camera stopped, Trisha.
No,
There
Mark,
it is. It's back.
it's working for me. I can see Trisha
Oh.
and she's moving around and working. It's not.
Oh,
going
yep,
perfect,
there she is.
so.
I see it. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
And
I don't-
and then we have
Grace is on as well. Yep.
Arupo Rodriguez. Thank you. Marianne, can you continue leading us, please?
I can try. Thank you so much. All right, 5.1.1 is the discussion and possible action regarding pre-licensure nursing programs in noncompliance. The first school is Merritt College, Associate Degree Nursing Program, 2 years with noncompliances following a BRN continuing approval visit. The information on Merritt can be found starting on page 59 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Merritt College. So in August of 2023, the board deferred taking action on the continuing approval of Merritt College Associate Degree Nursing Program. The program remains in noncompliance with minimal progress over the past 2 years. In April of 2025, with continued noncompliances, the board requested that the program return quarterly to the ELC until the program comes into full compliance. An update to the earlier submission of the AIS, which you have in your packet, the assistant director has since left for a planned retirement on May 30th. There is no current assistant director at this time. The program director will leave on a planned retirement on June 30th, 2025. There will be no PD as of program director July 1st, 2025. There was a recent potential candidate for PD. They declined due to low salary offer. A new psych mental health instructor has been hired to teach psych mental health clinical only this fall and will serve as the psych mental health expert. A current instructor who already teaches a full load of MedSurg General will take on overload to teach the psych mental health lectures for the fall of 2025. The program does not have adequate resources to teach students and have voluntarily decided to hold their admission in the fall of 2025 to focus on the success of current students in the program who will graduate in the spring of 26. Each program writes an executive summary in the materials packet. Theirs starts on page 61, and program representatives are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Before we go forward with that one, I do have a question. So you're letting us know that as of July 1, there will be no program director, no assistant director. Is that accurate?
Correct. There's no assistant director now, and there will be no director or assistant director still. I don't really have a timeline. They were trying to fill the program director spot, but again, getting in the process, the person declined because of the salary.
Are they able to get a consultant in or someone to cover by the July 1 date? Is that?
That I don't know. Their NEC has been working with them consistently to try to get, because they don't have a lot of faculty either. So there's not a lot of faculty that can step up as well. So, and unfortunately, the assistant director was teaching multiple, he was their psych mental health person and taught multiple classes besides psych mental health. So there's a pretty big hole.
Okay. Real quick, just for the committee members to understand the gravity of this is you cannot have a nursing program without a nursing director. There are several ways that we could work with a program director. So understanding, and I know that the school representatives are on as well as the NEC. So I'm just going to take this moment to kind of provide some education. Any person that has an instructor level board of registered nursing approval that has been teaching for 2 years can be approved as an assistant director. As part of that assistant director's job description, it is required that they are able to step in and cover as a program director in the absence of a program director. So if there is an instructor that they have currently on staff that would be willing to take on an assistant director role temporarily as they find a director, that would allow them to continue to operate. One of the other options is if there is another school, maybe they have a sister school, or if it's part of a larger organization. Again, I'm not speaking specifically to Merit, but any program. A program director that already has an approval can also step in as a temporary program director to this school. There is no requirement for a program director to be in person on campus. That is not a requirement that we have. So, but they do need a program director. So this puts us in a bit of an issue because the board meeting, where our recommendation from the committee meeting will not happen until August. What has happened previously, historically, is a program is put in immediate jeopardy, essentially, if they don't get a program director. That's one of our requirements, is you have to have a program director of some sort to run a program. So we do need confirmation from the school today that they will have somebody serving as a program director by July 1 when that absence occurs, or we will have to bring them forward in August or hold an emergency board meeting where we will have to remove programmatic approval and have students be assigned to a different school to complete. You cannot run a program without a program director. This is more than the possible motions that are listed on the screen below you. The possible motions that are listed on the screen below you are for when we're working with them to come into compliance. The motion that is the most problematic one on there is the optional motion where it says recommend placing program on a warning status with intent to revoke approval. If we were to get to that point for kind of regular non-compliance issues, that gives them 1 year to show substantive changes to bring that into compliance. That program would then come back to us, progress reports, etc., and then be able to show us that they're still working on it or that they have come into compliance, and we don't remove their approval. The information presented today that as of July 1, they will not have a program director changes that. Because again, we can't even give them a year to come in compliance at that point because there's no program director to lead them, to bring them into compliance, to manage the faculty, to manage the resources, to work with the clinicals, to lead the students. Faculty are not designated to do that. So at this point, I would like to have the school be come off mute and have conversations with us on where, if they believe that they will be able to have a program director of some sort in place by July 1. If that is an affirmative, I'll let the board committee continue to have the questions that you guys need to ask for the remaining items. But without that initial answer, we would not be able to move forward with the possible motion that's that's in front of us. So is the school representatives, David and Dawn, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, David, do you understand the gravity of what is occurring here?
First of all, good morning, everyone. I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to speak with you today. And absolutely, it would be difficult, probably a little challenging for me to convey the extent to which the entire institution, working with the district, working with our board, working with the chancellor, it would be probably challenging for me to convey how seriously we've been taking this and how this has essentially been consuming everyone associated with Merritt College and the district. One thing that I can say is I am confident that we will get somebody in place. We did have someone, without getting into particulars, we did have someone who was interested and had actually made a commitment and then withdrew for whatever reason. One of the more compelling challenges, I think, is the salary. I think that someone mentioned, I think maybe you mentioned specifically that was a hurdle. For the uninitiated, it is very difficult at times to move the needle when it comes to things like that. We were able to, just because, and I think this maybe dramatizes how seriously we are taking it, we were successful in terms of reaching an agreement with the Peralta Federation of Teachers, our faculty union, and were able to get an MOU signed just last week that would essentially, for the starting salary that we had, not to get into the weeds with this, but I think it's important to provide all the context and information to help everyone make an informed decision. But essentially, it was able to increase the salary by more than $40,000. The faculty union made an exception just for nursing. That's how serious everyone is taking this. So it was $40,000 above what we were able to offer in our advertisement, and it's almost $60,000 more than the minimum salary of a faculty member coming in. So, given the fact that the faculty union recognizes, and our district leadership recognized this and was able to get that agreement done in a matter of several days, hopefully conveys how the gravity of the situation, how we recognize the gravity of the situation. So I'm confident, I'm hopeful that perhaps re-engaging the individual and letting them know that might yield a positive result, as well as working with our current faculty so they appreciate the importance of getting this done. Otherwise, no one will be working. How about that? So
And that's
that's
exactly what we're trying to
essentially,
convey to you
yeah,
right now, that if we do not have a program director, you do not have a program.
exactly.
And that means that we will have to, you're part of the community college chancellors. Is that correct? Are you part of the community college system, or are you not?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We belong to
So,
Peralta Community College District as part of the larger
the greater.
Community College of California.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what I need conveyed is that if there is another community college program director that is willing to step in case you are not able to get that current person in and onboarded with the updated salary by July 1, you will not be able to have a nursing program at this point. So please reach out to the chancellor's office. Please reach out to your community college nursing program directors there and see if there's somebody that would be willing to cover in the interim until you get that done. How many students do you have currently enrolled today?
Dawn, do you
21.
have a? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. We
Dawn,
have 20.
thank you.
We have 21 students currently enrolled.
Okay, and did they have all various graduation dates, or they all have a similar projected graduation date?
They all have the projected graduation date of May 2026, and we do have a plan in place to cover all of the courses that are needed, that they need to have before that graduation date.
Okay, we just need a program director to make sure that continues.
That is correct.
So I do appreciate your plan where you are not taking a enrollment this fall. I think that would be problematic to add to this at this particular moment. The other thing that I do have a question with is, you mentioned that it was the faculty union. Is your program director considered faculty and not administration at this campus?
Yes, ma'am. The program director is a faculty member. Will be a faculty member.
Okay. That might be why there is a salary issue. The program director in our mind and within our rules and regulations with the Board of Registered Nursing is an administrative person that must have faculty experience, a master's degree, etc., in order to serve in the role of the administrator for the entire program. So if you are running into salary issues, that may be something that you want to consider as well, to have your campus maybe appropriately recognize them as an administrator, because that is their role with us. And they are not considered faculty. They are separate from what we as the board consider faculty. We do allow colleges and universities to have your org chart as you set up, so we try not to get into those weeds. However, if you are running into salary issues, that may be something where your guys' org chart varies from what we consider at the BRN, which may be helpful for you to move forward in that. So as long as we stay in very close connection with you guys over the next 2 weeks to ensure that a program director is in place, either temporary loan from another school, and how that can work so I can help you with this process is, if they have a program director and assistant director, if you are borrowing a program director from another local college, they can serve as an interim or an acting program director for your institution, their assistant director can step into that role as if they are on vacation or whatever at that point, to serve in the absence of their program director while that program director is working with you guys and covering. Again, there is no in-person requirement, but they do need to accept accountability for the program and manage it going forward until you guys can get a program director in place. If you guys want to have a greater discussion on that, I will make myself available with our supervising nursing education consultant, as well as your assigned NEC and our chief of licensing, to make sure that this is absolutely managed. Now that I have a confirmation from you and you guys understand that if July 1 doesn't comes and you don't have a program director, the issue is we will have to call a board meeting, an emergency board meeting, and we will have to find placements for your 20+ students to finish their program at another location. So just so you guys understand the complete gravity of that. And at that point, I'll turn it over to my board committee members to ask the questions, assuming you will have a program director moving forward to address what the normal process would be at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm kind of curious, with this increase in salary now, what is your hiring plan for this position? I mean, you're going to have to kickstart something very quickly because that July 1st deadline is coming up very soon.
Yeah, so we would be empowered to offer a more competitive salary for someone to come in on an interim basis. We do have a plan to hire, because one of the other things too that has been underscored, I think, throughout this process is the imperative to increase the number of faculty members that we have. So the long-term goal, we need to hire 4. We will be hiring 4 faculty members. And again, just to kind of give you some context, hiring 4 faculty members just for nursing, we may not have hired 4 faculty members for the entire college over the last 2 years. So again, the institutional shift to put all of our attention on, be laser focused on, resolving issues with nursing, I think is demonstrated by where we're putting the resources for hiring. But we have to hire someone for pediatric nursing, psychiatric nursing, medical surgery, I think was the third one, and then a general faculty member and that person would not have any teaching responsibilities, but we're going to make that person the long-term and permanent program director. So those positions are going to be re-advertised. I am very confident that we will have greater breadth and depth of a pool, given the fact that we are significantly increasing the starting salary, the guaranteed starting salary, by it's a sea shift in terms of how we're advertising and the resources we're putting in to nursing. So that would be the plan. But in the immediate future, as the executive, as your EO stated, is to get someone in there, a contract signed, just for that person to serve as the interim program director until we can make that person permanent, or make a person permanent in the fall with our hiring.
So am I to understand that you've only received 1 applicant for this position, and that's the applicant that withdrew their interest in this position due to the salary?
So the interim, my understanding that the person who was going to, Ms. Davis, the person who was going to assume the responsibilities of program director, initially, again, we had an agreement and she withdrew. Are you speaking specifically for the program director, or specifically for the pool that we've received for the other applications to be faculty in the med surge, psych, pediatrics, that piece?
Yeah, I'm talking about the program director because that's your greatest need right now in the next 2 weeks.
Right. And I think that, the challenging thing is that we because we thought that we had someone and someone had agreed to do it, we didn't feel the need to continue to look. But now with that person withdrawing, it has definitely put us in a bit of a bind, a time sensitive bind to find someone. I mean, the only saving grace I think would be is that we found out when we did, and we didn't find out 10 days from now.
Yeah.
So I we still have some time, and again, revisiting our current faculty and reaching out. I'm actually very close to the president of Chabot College, Dr. Jamal Cooks, and they have a nursing program. So as soon as I finish this meeting, that's going to be my next phone call, as well as meeting with the our dean and VP to to cast that net back out, so we can have someone in place by the deadline.
Okay. So considering your other openings that you have in your college for faculty, what is your plan, your hiring plan for those positions that you have open? If you were to get a direct right now.
Yeah, well, again, I think those two things can happen in tandem. We can we can re-advertise for those positions. I think that the interest will be the interest in pursuing. I think that the applicant pool, like I said, I think will be deeper and broader once people realize that the starting salary is not in the 70,000s. The starting salary is $113,000 at minimum. 130. I believe that we negotiated a range. Kind of get in the weeds. A range, step 20, which goes up to about 122,000, but the floor for that position is $113,376, which is much more than the $72,000 starting position that we initially advertised. So re-advertising that with a more competitive salary, we've gotten approval with our HR department to spend money on recruiters in the area and in the field that have expertise in terms of targeting potential applicants. So we're not going to just do this on our own. We're not going to just, as my VP says, we're not going to just post and pray that somebody signs up or applies for the position. We're going to avail ourselves of professional services to yield a stronger pool. So we're going to do that at the same time, simultaneously, as we, put our focus on getting someone in the next 14 days. I mean, today's the 17th. The next 13 days, because June only has 30 days. So the next 13 days.
So I'll jump in really quick. I do have additional questions with that. So for you have how many faculty on staff right now for your RN program?
Dawn, do you know the exact number of folks that we have?
Yes, we have 3 full-time faculty. If you counted me as program director, I would make 4.
Okay, and you are the one that's leaving July 1?
Yes, ma'am, June 30th.
June 30th, got it, thank you. So you'll be down to just 3 faculty for the entire program?
Full-time.
That is correct, full-time, yes.
What do you guys have for part-time or adjunct?
Yeah, how many part? Do you know how many off the top of your head? How many part-time folks we have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I was gonna say 6, 5. Okay.
Okay, and you said you guys have a plan in place for coverage of the current students through their graduation date?
Yes, that is a firm plan with all faculty agreeing to the assignments.
Wonderful. When you are recruiting for the next faculty member, do you guys have a limit that must be reached of applicants where, like, per JC or per position, you must have 4 applicants, 3 applicants, something like that before you can move forward with interviews and such?
No, we've had different positions. I mean, in an ideal world, you want a deep enough pool to make a good decision. I mean, we would not. I will assure you, we will not compromise any standards in order to get some people in. We're not going to do that because the stakes are too high to have unqualified folks training our students. But at the same time, without getting into specific details, we have a position right now in another area of the college where I was given 1 applicant, but that applicant was very strong. So as president, I was comfortable, moving forward with that. I'm not going to imperil the program by adhering to an arbitrary, oh, we didn't have five, you didn't forward me five people, so I can't. We're not going to do that. But we are
Appreciate
going to
that.
ensure that we have a quality, we have a quality individual who can step into the role and train our students.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because with the faculty crisis that we have throughout the state and also ultimately the nation, holding out for enough applicants might be a detriment. How long, as you said, you have not posted with the updated salary yet. How long will it take to post, and how long will you have for it to close before you can start doing your process of reviewing?
Yeah, we can work. I can work with HR immediately today and contact them to get that to get that up with the updated salary. I mean, literally, the agreement, the MOU that we signed with the PFT is literally hot off the press. It's within the last several days.
Okay, and then how long will it take to get it up? And then what is your waiting period for posting and closing before you can start to review the applicants?
So, I mean, typically you're looking at, and I see we have our vice president, I see her face to Lisa Cook if she wants to chime in. But I would say the recruitment and screening process and then interview process, I mean, you're probably looking into the fall semester
Okay.
to get
So
that done.
You believe that you could get some hires in process by this fall?
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah, if you can't,
beguile
that's what we're
them.
trying to find is we need to know
Yeah,
what
no,
is,
I would say more
what is
realistically would be,
feasible for you guys.
yeah, I would say more realistically, it would be faculty starting January, full-time faculty starting in January, getting that done in January.
My concern is that you have been non-compliant for 2 years now, Dr. McCarthy?
Yes,
Yeah,
I did their CAV in 2023.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. This is so discouraging. It's kind of hard to even know kind of where to go at this point. I mean, it's a true crisis point. And I'm not sure any of the motions that are recommended kind of clearly capture kind of where we are with this program. I'm encouraged that there have been some dramatic changes in the last couple of weeks, but this is a program that's really not doing great.
I'm also concerned, although your NCLEX scores are not bad,
But I
you
have to
might be
speak to
burning
that.
out.
They have a high attrition rate, and they
Yeah,
also have held, this is their
32%.
second time they're going to hold admission. So
Yeah.
only the top students are getting through. So of course they're going to pass the NCLEX.
What is their current attrition rate right now?
32? Or is it? I need to look back. I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up as well.
I thought it was 30%. Can you
Current
speak
is
to that?
32. So yeah, that is high.
Can you speak to that, Mr. Johnson?
I think maybe
Oh,
Dawn
are
should
you
speak
Dr.
to that.
Johnson?
Mhm.
Okay.
Probably
Dawn,
Dawn.
can you speak to that as the program
Someone from the
director?
school.
Yes, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but with the small classes that we've been taking in for the last couple of years, class of 25, we are losing in the first semester. That's when we usually have most of our attrition. We are losing approximately 3 to 4 students in that first semester.
Great, thank you. So you're like third and fourth semester is your attrition rate lower?
Much lower if hardly anyone at all. It's that first semester where we lose them.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, and with a small enrollment number, that would make sense as well. So just board committee members, just let you guys know that attrition rate is concerning. The NCLEX rate is still holding strong. I would like to attribute that honestly to the dedication of the current faculty and current administration just by taking on extra loads. I'm sure you guys are all teaching an overload. I'm sure you guys are putting in all the time. It is reassuring that the subsequent semesters don't have that same attrition rate. It is fairly common to lose students in your entry semester. What happens a lot of times for non-community colleges is the student comes in and declares a major, and they start in and they take like their prerequisites and stuff like that, and they're not considered enrolled specifically into the nursing program. So we don't necessarily track all of that attrition. And so you might have a college or university where their attrition rate in those first semesters that are not nursing specific is very, very high, because they have, sciences and other things that they have to meet. With this, it usually is a shock to the student to go from a general education course to a nursing specific course. And that sometimes requires some additional support. So what would be of benefit to have an understanding here is, if you guys are losing them in first semester, what can be done at the college level to ensure that those students are fully prepared to enter into nursing, and that they have the support that they need that first semester so that they can continue on and not have that high attrition. I think that would be something that would have to be addressed as well when you're looking at the overall plan of improvement here.
Thanks, Lori.
Yeah, that's helpful.
I'm ready to make a motion unless there's other committee members that would like to ask any further questions from the school. No?
No, I welcome your motion. There's been a lot of discussion that's been, like you said, concerning.
Yeah. All right. So the motion, I would recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Merit College Associate Degree Nursing Program, 2 years with non-compliances following a BRN continuing approval visit. While they work to clear the areas of non-compliance at this time, I would recommend placing the program on warning status with intent to revoke approval. I would like to ask the college to submit a hiring plan for not only your director and assistant director openings, but for your faculty openings by our next board meeting in August, I believe, correct? Or is that committee? It's August.
We have board in August. Yes.
Yeah, we have board in August, correct. So by next board meeting in August, I would also like to recommend that this school returns to ELC and or board quarterly until areas of non-compliances are cleared.
I second that motion.
Thank you. BRA moderator, can you please take us out to public comment?
As you're going out to public comment, this is a motion that we don't typically make. So I want to make sure to take this moment to make sure that the program fully understands what is here. This is a recommendation from the board committee that puts you guys on a warning status with intent to revoke approval. What that means is you have time to fix this. Per our regulations, when we put you on a warning status with intent to remove the programic approval, we give you 1 year. Within that 1 year, you have to show substantive corrective actions in order to fix that. So this is not necessarily a death sentence at this point, just to be very clear with that. You do have the ability to maintain your program, and you have the ability to make corrections to that. California Code of Regulations 1423.2 says denial or revocation approval of a nursing program, and this is A4. A4 says we can revoke approval when a program has been on warning status for 1 year and the program fails to show substantive corrective actions. Additionally, part of that is B, where it says the board shall provide specific requirements for correction of noncompliance findings and a return date for review of the program approval status. We have done that. So just so you fully understand that, you do have a year to work with your NEC, work with your campus administration, and us as a board. Anything that we can do to assist you in this, we do. What additionally happens to this is if you guys are accredited, I'm not confident.
They're not
right now off the
accredited.
top of my head, okay? If the program is accredited, if we do this in the future to a different program, we would notify that accrediting agency as well, or we would request that you notify your accrediting agency that your state board of nursing has put you on a warning status. What you will also find is on our website under continuing approval of nursing programs, your program will be listed as a program that is on warning status so that our public responsibility to protect our public is aware that this program is having some issues and that you are on a warning status. You may receive calls on this, you may receive some inquiries on this to say why this is occurring. We do ask that you guys let them know the process, let them know that this is in there and that you guys have a plan to correct that. In a year, when you return to the board, if there is substantive corrective changes, and maybe not all of them are met, we do have the ability to reevaluate. If you come in front of the board in a year from now and you have not shown substantive changes to correct these actions, then our board does have the ability to make a plan for a teach out where you guys will not currently have a nursing program going forward. So I really want you guys to understand the gravity of this, and we do want to work to keep you guys in compliance, bring you into compliance, and continue as a nursing program. That is always the goal of our board, and we are here to assist you.
Lori,
So, yes.
I would like to add that, yes, thank you for explaining the warning status process. However, right now, if they don't have a program director by July 1st, we will automatically bring them forward and relocate their students. So they don't have a year right now. They have 14 days or 13 days to get a program director. With that said, once they have somebody, let's say, I don't know, let's go out on a limb and say Chabot covers them, right? So great. Then they, then they can be on warning status and they have a year to get somebody in place, but they at all times have to have a program director. So I just want to make sure they know that they don't get a year from now, they have 13 days to get somebody in place to keep them from moving down this pathway.
I'll
Thank you.
try to clarify a little bit with that. This motion that was made right now by our board committee
president
members is specific to the fact that they currently have a program director.
Got it.
With a plan to have that
Yes.
program director in place.
Yes.
So we have to deal with what we have currently right now. Come July 1, if we are noticed by the NEC that there is no program director in place, we will have to call an emergency board meeting.
Correct.
We will do a 10-day notification. We will come in and we will hear as a full board this school, and we will then have to make a motion that will address the absence of absence of a program director, which will override and change this motion. This motion is a recommendation with what we currently have, that hopefully everything moves smoothly and we ratify this at the full board in August and you guys continue to move forward.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I know you guys understand and I understand. I just want to make sure the program understands. So thank you for restating.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And I know board moderator, you were opening it up to public comment. So I'll let you move forward with that now.
Thank you. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I would like to give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I forgot who was running this. Was it
It's
Dolores or was
Jovita.
it Jovita? It was
Jovita.
Jovita. Okay, I'm sorry. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. We'll take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Nguyen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'm gonna interrupt again really quick. I just received an email from a person that says they are willing to help Merritt College with a program director. I just forwarded that email to our supervising nursing education consultant because I do not have David's contact number. And so David, Marianne will get that sent to you so you can reach out and start a conversation. I don't want to give out the name of who this might be, but I am hopeful and grateful for the offer. I did forward that on, and hopefully you will have a PD that will be able to assume this role come July 1. And we can continue to move forward with just having your program come into compliance and continue with the students in the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item 5.1.2. Discussion and possible action regarding pre-licensure nursing programs and non-compliance. Excuse me. This is Cabrillo College Associate Degree Nursing Program. The program with non-compliance is following a BRN continuing approval visit. Information on this program starts in your packet on page 66. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Cabrillo. Cabrillo had a routinely planned continuing approval visit on February 19th, 2025. This program was found to be in non-compliance in 3 areas, 14, 40, 24, and 25, which is administration and organization of a program, faculty qualifications, and faculty responsibilities. Each program writes an executive summary submitted in the materials, and theirs includes their plan to come into compliance. This is their first non-compliance because we just did the visit in February. Their executive summary starts on page 67, and their representatives are here should you have questions. Thank you.
And then just to reset, this is a normal process for us. These next 2 schools, they just had a continuing approval visit. They haven't had a time to come into compliance yet. So this is our typical process where we usually give them about a year to come into compliance. They do some reports to their NEC. They don't come in front of the committee. And we fully expect them to be in full compliance within the next few months, up to a year. So just to reset here, these are much less high kind of priority ones.
Well, I'm willing to make a motion, but I just wonder if the school would like to say anything ahead of time.
Well, Trisha, the way we have it set up with the programs is that we ask them to be prepared to answer questions, but we don't ask them to prepare any kind of presentation, only because it can get really time consuming and take the focus off of. But if you want them to speak, of course.
No.
Always. I just want to make
wondered
sure
if they
you know
had-
how we prepare them.
Thank you. I just was wondering if they had anything burning. I'm ready to make a motion I recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Cabrillo College Associate Degree Nursing Program. The program with non-compliances following a BRN continuing approval visit while they work to clear the areas of non-compliance. And I'd like them to report quarterly for the next year until they're in compliance.
Jovita seconds.
Thank you.
BRN moderator, could you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how to type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
Board moderator, I was just notified by Dolores that she is not able to unmute. Is that something that you can assist her with as a panelist? Are you able to mute or unmute her?
Unmute her where?
It looks like she just dropped off.
Oh, so she's back in the attendees. Got it.
She
Okay.
might
Okay, now-
be, or she might not be.
Now she's back. She's back.
She's back.
I
Okay,
I saw her, but I didn't see her.
okay,
She's unmuted now.
There she is. She's back.
cool. Dolores, are you able to speak now?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Perfect, gotcha.
Okay, so I do have a person who wants to comment, but he wants to wait until 5.1.3, so I'm gonna table him if that's okay.
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Ortiz, we'll come back to you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on this agenda item. We have no in-person representation in our location. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
I Jovita votes yes. President Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn,
Win, yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 5.1.3, discussion and possible action regarding pre-licensure nursing programs and non-compliance. This is Imperial Valley College Associate Degree Nursing Program with non-compliances following a BRN continuing approval visit. Information on this program can be found starting on page 72 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate presenters from the list from Imperial Valley, and this would be David Ortiz. He would be one of the presenters, so we need to elevate him. Okay, Imperial Valley College had a routinely scheduled continuing approval visit on April 9th of 2025. They were found to be in non-compliance in 1424 administration and organization related to insufficient resources, board approved assistant director who is knowledgeable of the current program, and faculty member orientation program. Each program writes an executive summary and is submitted in the materials, and this is, in this case, their response to their non-compliances, and that starts on page 74. And the program representatives, Daniel Ortiz and Julie Kuneth, are both possibly here to answer any questions. Thank you. I see Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, board. Thank you for having us.
And then Daniel, just so you know, if the board members do not have questions directly to you, you would not be required to make a speech or anything like that. So we'll let our board committee members here ask any questions that they feel they need to do to be able to make a motion.
I don't have any questions on this item.
All right, well, let's make a motion. Recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for the Imperial Valley College Associate Degree Nursing Program with non-compliance following BRN continuing approval visit while they work on their areas of non-compliance. Do I have a second?
I second it. This is Dolores Trujillo.
I'm
Thank
just
you,
curious
Dolores.
if you guys would like to add the second part where they return to
Yes.
Oh,
EOC in a
recommend-
year and
Yes.
have reports.
Definitely.
Yes, thank you, Marianne. Recommend to return to ELC board in 1 year with quarterly reports to the assigned NEC. And I believe Dolores will still second.
Yes, I second that.
Okay,
you.
thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and will move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
and Trisha Wynn.
Win, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 5.2.1. This is the discussion and possible action regarding a request to move campus location in San Diego, California for National University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. The information on this program is starting on page 79 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for national. So National University Baccalaureate Degree Program has 3 sites. And they're requesting, and one of their sites is San Diego. And so they're requesting to move where they are in San Diego to their home headquarters in San Diego, which is about 16 miles from the previous location that they're at, and they plan to do that this fall. I made a virtual visit to evaluate the planned space for the student needs, clinical sites, faculty, and impact on the community and other nursing programs is unchanged because of they're not moving very far, so they're not going to do any big changes. And they have an executive summary, of course, in the materials on page 80 that explains their decision and wish to move the campus. Representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
I thought the board materials were thorough and it seems like a win-win. So I'd like to make a motion to recommend the acceptance of the request to move the campus location in San Diego, California for National University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program.
I would like to second that motion.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thanks.
BRN moderator, could you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, also known as Slido, or now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment.
While they're typing in at this point, I just want to do a pulse check with our committee members. We are moving into the enrollment increase and new campus kind of location of our committee meeting. They do tend to be a little more lengthier in discussion. It is 11 o'clock. It's been about an hour since we did have a break. I want to make sure that that's kind of on the radar. And then we do have to consider lunch probably in the next hour or so if it's something that you guys want to work in there as well for staff, as well as your guys's personal, taking care of yourself. So just want to drop that in just for consideration and planning as we move forward.
Would it be too early to do lunch now before we move into the enrollment increases? It's just difficult to break in the middle of that portion.
We do have some agenda breaks that are kind of built in, just so you're aware of that. So the first ones, 5.3, will be programs that are already approved that want to grow their enrollment. And then 5.4 is we could break after 5.3 is done, that right now there are 4 programs listed. And then 5.4 is where you guys already reviewed their feasibility. And so it's just a coming into compliance to start. And then 5.5 has 2 schools that are requesting to start in a new location where you guys will be reviewing to see if it's feasible. So I think there are some kind of breaks that we could jump in, like between 5.3 and 5.4 if we need to for a lunch. That would work, but just throwing that out to for planning.
Thanks, Lori.
Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Patricia Nguyen?
Win, yes.
Motion carries. So do we want to do a bio break or?
I think at this point we can continue on with 5.3.
Okay. All right. Let's
Okay.
continue.
Thank you. Continuing to 5.3.1. This is the discussion and possible action regarding a request for an enrollment increase for an approved pre-licensure nursing program. This is Samuel Merritt University baccalaureate degree and entry-level master's degree nursing program. Enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 83 of the packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Samuel Merritt. Again, this is different than Merritt College. Sometimes it's hard because we got Merritt, but this is Samuel Merritt, a baccalaureate degree program. So Samuel Merritt came in front of the board in February of 2025, where an enrollment increase request was approved for the Oakland campus, but denied for the Sacramento campus. Then in May of 2025, the board changed the denial for the Sacramento campus enrollment increase to a deferred status, deferred taking action on that request to allow Samuel Merritt to find an area of clinical sites to accommodate the growth request in a less impacted area and less effect on other nursing programs. So Samuel Merritt is here today asking for an approval of the Sacramento campus enrollment increase request with the specification that all their clinicals will occur in Region 4. Their enrollment pattern request is that they have 72 ELM students, 72 in the spring, 48 in the fall, for an annual enrollment going from 96 to 120 students. This is an increase of 24 students in the spring. And their baccalaureate program, Sacramento campus, 48 students 3 times a year for an annual enrollment increase from 96 to 144, which is an increase of 48 students. And they're doing this by adding a summer cohort or summer enrollment. The total Sacramento campus enrollment increase is 72 students. As always, we have the growth data information for Region 4 in the materials on page 85 and 86. And they, of course, have written an executive summary to submit to you, and this starts on page 87. Representatives are here to answer any questions you might have.
And then just a reminder for the board committee members is that at our prior meeting, there was a public comment that said, what can the board do if we agree to allow them to grow in a region that is not their campus-based location, right? We've done that for a few of our schools out there.
Mhm.
And if we were to find out that after they said that they were going to do an enrollment increase and only use clinicals in a specific location, and that does not occur, we do have 16 CCR 1423B that we are able to utilize as a board. We would bring them back in front of the board. For any school, this is not specific to Samuel Merritt, where it says knowingly concealing a material fact required to be submitted to the board or knowingly misrepresenting a material fact submitted to the board, which would be the place that this would fall under, is cause for denial of an application or revocation of an approved nursing program's approval. So just, we answered that for the public in our last meeting, make sure that there is very clear. that we do have the ability as the board to enforce where they do this enrollment based on what they have promised us to do, if it were to ever be something that was discovered or determined in the future to not be occurring as.
Thank
And
you
it is
very
part
much.
of the, it's in part, it is also in the recommendation, the possible motion. That, you know, it says if clinical sites are not available in Region 4, the program will revert back to the previously approved number for Sacramento campus.
Thank
Yeah,
you
and
very
that-
much for that clarification. I appreciate that. I wouldn't even consider supporting a motion like this if we did not have the ability to enforce that. May I just ask, and this is probably to Mary Ann, how do you go about finding that? I mean, are you combing through their clinical placements and looking at locations when you go in for site visits, or how does that, how do you
Yeah,
find something like that?
all clinical sites have to be approved. And so what happens is I will eventually, I will see them to see where they're at. And if they were in the Sacramento area, I would then have to question why they're in the Sacramento area and if they're related to the Sacramento campus. And then we would have that discussion.
Thank you.
There are also additional ways. If we were to receive a complaint, we would launch an investigation and we would ask them to let us know how they are placing their students. They do have a program in Sacramento, so we do expect them to have Sacramento-based clinical approvals for their currently approved enrollment number of students, right? We're only asking for the increase of 24 students in the spring for the ELM and the increase of 48 students
This summer.
in the ABSN to be in this new region. So we will have them placing students in both areas. It's the increase that would need to be in this new region, and we would have to have documentation of that. And so that could be something that you may want to consider adding into the motion, that they provide that on an ongoing basis or something, to be proactive on that instead of waiting for a complaint or some kind of an issue that might arrive. So just a thought to throw out there for you guys.
Yeah, we're seeing this more and more coming in front of the board as a way that maybe some enrollment increases can happen, but they do clinicals in a less impacted area. Tracking would be a little difficult for the NECs unless they submit it. And this is something we could look at too as a board. Unless they submitted some type of report, this yearly report on the students that are attending clinicals outside of their normal areas. And
so I could jump in on that really quick. CCR 1427 clinical facilities for us. We do have a F on there where it says on or about December 1 of each year. The board shall provide each nursing program with a report containing all clinical facility data the board has on file for their program. By December 31st of each year, each nursing program shall electronically confirm that the clinical facility data in the board's report is accurate as of the date of the report, or if necessary, electronically notify the board of any required corrections or additional changes. I think that it can fall into that regulatory requirement so that we have the authority to ask for that. And so we can expect, if that's what you're asking, that by December 31st of each year, they can let us know where their
Yes.
students are in clinicals specific to this region, ensure that those are being utilized in an appropriate manner.
so just to verify, the theoretical portion will be conducted in Sacramento, correct? And then the clinical practice will take place down the valley in Region 4. If this does not happen and those students do not exactly, and they revert back to their previous enrollment numbers, should they not attend clinicals down the valley, but are integrated in clinicals in Sacramento, correct?
Correct.
All right.
May I ask a follow-up question to that? Are the students going to be told when they enroll in this program, that their clinical placements will be, maybe a 45-minute drive or an hour drive away?
Yes, they're required to let them know.
So I
Thank
think
you.
Dr. Dr. Rush,
Dr. Rush.
that might be or Jamie, that might be a question that you guys might have to specifically answer is how do you plan the movement of those students? Is it going to be on a request? Is it going to be home address based? Are they going to know on admission? Like what is your process to manage that for the students? Because that is a little bit of a way away from the Sacramento campus.
Specifically for that question?
Yes, please.
Yes.
If you're able to answer it, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We've already had meetings, detailed meetings with our admissions department and our admissions dean for admissions. We actually have quite a few students who already live in that area who travel to take courses in Sacramento. So we're not too concerned about finding the students, and absolutely they will know before they come in that the theory portion will happen at the Sacramento campus and the clinicals will happen in Region 4. So they'll know in advance, absolutely. This will be a new cohort. So it isn't taking existing students and moving them or changing them. This is a new, fresh cohort. So they'll know coming into the program where their clinicals are. And as one of the committee members said, there may be an hour drive or something for clinicals. So be explicitly made known to the students.
Thank you. Well, with those assurances, I'm happy to make a motion to recommend acceptance of the enrollment increase for an approved pre-licensure nursing program, Samuel Merritt University, baccalaureate degree and entry-level master's degree nursing programs at the Sacramento campus with clinical sites only in Region 4. If clinical sites are not available in Region 4, then the program will revert back to the previously approved enrollment number for the Sacramento campus. So for the ELM program, 72 students in the spring and 48 students in the fall for an annual enrollment of 120 students, which is an increase of 24 students in the spring. For the ABSN program, 48 students 3 times a year for an additional enrollment of 144 students, which is an increase. For an annual enrollment of 144 students, which is an increase of 48 students by adding a summer enrollment. And we would like to make sure that there is reporting on this at the end of the year.
I have one more question before we go to public comment.
Okay, there hasn't been a second,
Let's get a second first.
I second. This
Thank
is
you.
Dolores Trujillo. Dr. Rush, have you talked to the schools down the valley regarding the hospitals that you plan to do clinicals for your students at?
Yes, we have. And we included that in our executive summary and had that information and conversations with Dr. McCarthy. Region 4 is a very rural region, and it does not belong to any particular consortium. We did meet with the schools. We were recommended and advised by Dr. McCarthy and others to just reach out one-on-one for all the schools, even though there's not a consortium. So we've done that. We've had nobody say absolutely no, this is fine, we can work this out. Our clinical placements are some alternate times, evenings, weekends, things like that. There was one clinical placement that overlaps with the Central Valley San Joaquin Consortium. We met with them, cleared up any concerns that they had, so they didn't have any opposition either. So yes, we absolutely did our due diligence on meeting with the schools on the clinical facilities.
Thank you, Dr. Rush.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. BRN moderator, can you please open us up for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature, now known as Slido. Members of the public can indicate if they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Um, let's see. I had a Jennifer Holt had a comment earlier. Let me see, what was that? Oh, I'm sorry. Jennifer comment does have a comment. I'm sorry. Jennifer Holt does have a comment. 1 second, please. I thought that was from earlier. Sorry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, my name's Jennifer Holt. I'm the education manager at Mercy Medical Center in Merced, and we are one of the clinical sites that have partnered with Samuel Merritt College to provide an increase in their enrollment. We were able to facilitate a meeting with Merced College, which is the primary school that uses our site for clinical placements, to make sure that there was no concern with the overlap of clinicals. And we've actually been partnering with Samuel Merritt to provide them clinical rotations for the fall as well, in med-surg as well as maternal child health. So we are looking forward to their continued clinical placements at our facility. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Tanya Altman would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Tanya, go ahead. I see you. We hear you. We see you unmuted, but I don't hear anything. Okay, Tanya, I'll come back to you. Marla Seacrest would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Great. My name is Dr. Marla Seacrest, and I'm the director for the School of Nursing at Stan State, which is in Region 4. I mean, I have concerns when the director of the program says that they reached out to all of the schools that would be impacted, because I did not receive any kind of outreach from Samuel Merritt regarding their desire to increase enrollment. I've heard through the rumor mill from other campuses, such as Delta and Modesto Junior College, and that they were planning to use St. Joseph's in Stockton and San Joaquin County General Hospital in Stockton. We are already, I'm not sure why there's a general impression that we're not impacted in Region 4, because we are finding it very challenging and difficult to find placements for our students. In particular, at St. Joseph's this January, we got a call from them 1 week before the semester began, telling us that they did not have enough space for us because they had too many students from University of the Pacific and students from Samuel Merritt and other schools. And so we got kicked out with 1 week's notice and had to move a clinical rotation to San Joaquin General Hospital at the last minute, which we all know is very complicated when you're trying to do clearance of students. And so, you know, we've had an abundance of other private schools come and ask us. Just recently, last week, you know, a college of Arizona asked us what we thought, and we shared with them that we are heavily impacted with clinical sites. They said, well, we'll do weekends and nights, but we are already utilizing weekends and nights. It's not like we're just Monday through Friday day shift, you know, we're using all of the different shifts at all of the different facilities. And we would also like to grow. So would our accelerated second bachelor program in Stockton in particular, where the majority of their clinical placements are at San Joaquin General Hospital and St. Joseph's. And so to have another school come in, we're gravely concerned that we will be displaced as we were already in January. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Patty Hall would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Patty, on your computer, there's probably a small window that says unmute me behind all your other open windows if you have anything open. Yeah, I'll come back to Patty. Gary Hanayan would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Gary or Jerry, I'm sorry.
Good morning, President Trujillo, board members, and EO Melby. My name is Dr. Jerry Nine. I'm the Director of the nursing program at San Joaquin Delta College, located here on Region 4 in Stockton, California. I'm here today to respectfully oppose the proposed enrollment increase for Samuel Merritt University's Sacramento campus. While SMU has met with me, they have not provided clear information about the clinical sites they plan to use for additional students. This proposal will add 24 plus 48 more students to the region. This is a significant increase for us, and this does not have a clear plan for placements. As stated by the previous speaker, here in Region 4, clinical spots are already limited, and sites are very rare, especially the specialty areas. I urge the board to not approve this request. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your commitment to a fair and sustainable clinical education system in California.
Thank you for your comment. I'm going to go back to Tanya Altman. Tanya, 1 second, please.
Hey, I'm hoping you can hear me now.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. I'm just seeking some clarification because when I looked at the meeting materials on page 88, it says they're doing Region 4 and it's talking about using Marshall Medical Center. And when I go to the BRN School Survey Interactive Dashboard, Marshall Medical is actually in Region 1, Sacramento area. And so I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong spot or if this is an attempt to kind of slide into Sacramento.
Thank you for your comment. Patty Hall. We'll try again, Patty. Can I get some direction on Patty? I'm not, she's not, either she's not able to unmute herself or.
Is she able to type in the chat?
The chat's not activated. I don't activate the chat. I can activate the chat if you want, but
I think we have two options. We can either elevate her to a panelist and see if she can manage it this way. I know she's from Modesto Junior College, or we still hold her to 2 minutes, or you can activate the Slido and see if she can type into that.
Okay, if I hold on here, let me see. Nope, I think I have to hold on here. Okay. Okay. All right. Chat is activated. So Patty, if you can't unmute yourself, if you'd like to put your question in the chat. Should I promote her to a panelist?
Yes, try that and see if that works, please.
Okay, she is now a panelist.
Patty, you're now a panelist. Are you able to unmute yourself just by unmuting on your device? Okay, so at this point, Patty, if you have further public comment that you would like to make at a later time, we could take that. Or you can email me as well. But we have exhausted all of the options that we have for public comment. So there is a public comment is complete. We'll turn it back over to the board committee to have further discussion or a vote.
So this is Tricia.
Okay, hold on. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
Tanya Altman, did we not have an answer? She'd like an answer to her comment.
Can you clarify what that question was again? I'm sorry.
Oh, when she made her statement, she said she did not. She wants to know if you heard it.
So she's asking about Marshall Medical Center, which on our dashboard says it's in Region 1, but in the executive summary, it's a possible clinical site for Samuel Merritt. So she's just asking whether it really is in Region 1 or whether they're planning on using, whether it's in Region 1 and whether they plan it on. Stephen, do you want to speak to Marshall Medical?
Thank you.
I can. We really were sort of going on the council of working with you and others there in the BRN that it was in Region 1. If it is not in Region 1 and you are not in Region 4, but rather in Region 1, sorry, we will just remove that from our clinical placement list.
Thank you, because honestly, I don't look at every single one to see what region they're in. I leave that up to you guys to take responsibility for that. So if you could recheck the regions for the medical centers that, or whatever clinical sites you're using in 4, and make sure they really are in 4, and remove any other ones, that would be great. Because I don't want us to have to come back and say you're using one that's outside and then go down that rabbit hole.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Tanya, does that help?
I don't know that she'll be able to.
Yeah, she's probably off. That's okay.
Hold on. You want me? I can unmute her, or
Totally up to the committee.
Yeah, you can
answer
unmute
the
her.
question.
Unmute her.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That does work for me. If it is truly in Region 1 where they've been told they can't be and it gets taken off, I'm okay with that. It felt like when I looked at it, it was sliding something in. And it may not have been intentional at all.
Yeah, good catch.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Any more concerns or statements from the members?
I am
I do-
concerned.
Yeah, I do too. I'm the maker of the motion, and it just seems like this is problematic again. I mean, we were told, Region 4 isn't impacted and this is going to affect other schools. And then we hear public comment that it is going to affect other schools and it is going to squeeze out, other clinical placements. And I don't know who this, should answer this. I don't know if it's a question for Lori or for Mary Ann or for Dr. Brush, but
I'll attempt to address some. So we have not heard specifically that this area is an area of impaction. So this is where we are hearing now that program directors and stuff are sharing that potentially there may be impaction. What we have to do as a board and what the school needs to do is, if they're able to show that the facilities that they are using, specifically those facilities, so not a greater facility. So I'll try to explain that kind of a little more succinct. If I am in, and I'm going to use complete hypotheticals, Region 12, and I want to use a facility in Region 12. I go to that facility, and during the contracting process, facility A, I say, I need to know all of the other programs, nursing programs that utilize facility A. Once I find out who those are, I am only obligated to check with those that use facility A. If facility A gives me 3, I check with those 3. And as long as I'm not displacing them, I'm able to give that information to the board to make a decision. I do not need those 3 academic institutions that use facility A to approve a growth or deny a growth. What I need the school to do that wants to grow and use facility A to accommodate their growth, they need to work with the nursing programs that are already using that facility to ensure that there's not displacement. If they move to a facility B and facility B says, I don't contract with any other schools, then they don't have to reach out to any schools to utilize facility B. That has already been done. If they move to facility C and facility C says, I have 15 schools here, I can't use you, I can't contract with you without causing displacement, then that program needs to consider to not use that site at all. That is all the information that the program does. The academic program turns in to the NEC. They say, I have contract negotiations or I'm in contracts with facility A, B, and C in Region 12. Facility A says there's 3 programs they work with. I've reached out to those 3 programs. We are able to do this without causing impaction. Facility B has no programs utilizing that. I can use that without causing impaction. Facility 3 has 15 programs. They say they'll have impaction. I have chosen not to move forward with that site. Once they give you all of that information, the board takes that information and says, is this going to have a negative effect on the community? Is this going to have a negative effect on the programs that are already approved and operating in this area in Region 12? If that is a yes, then our board needs to consider if it is a deferment again and not allow for this area, and they look at another area. If that is no, that it will not cause a negative impact to this area based on the clinical facilities that were submitted and the arrangements that they made where it will not cause displacement, then the board can consider the growth as requested. They can alter it to a lower request, whatever the board chooses to do at that point to manage that. We are not asking for any program to approve a growth of another program. That is the board's role with gathering the information. We are asking of the school that wants to grow to collaborate with the nursing programs in the area that are already there, because those are the priority, because they already have an established enrollment population that utilize those sites that want to do that. There was a comment that said we would like to grow in that area. That is not something that our board can take into consideration unless they were on the agenda and already prepared to grow, right? So what you have to do is take into consideration the information that was presented to you that says these are the facilities that Samuel Merritt is choosing to use in those areas. If those facilities have nursing programs in them and it will cause them displacement, then Samuel Merritt should not go forward with that clinical placement. If you feel you have enough information to be able to make that decision here, you can. But as with any kind of process for approval, if more information has been given to you, guys have further questions, you do not have to make a decision today. And we can allow for those issues that were brought up today in public comment to be cleared and brought forward to the board in August. And then you guys can reconsider this request in August with additional information provided by Samuel Merritt. One of the things when I've met with program directors and campus presidents and stuff in the past for enrollment increase requests is I talk about it's very similar to a business permitting process, right? Where You come in and you present your plans to build and grow, and the committee looks at it and says, I need more information to be able to make this decision. You go through a back and forth process until you get all of those check marks cleared, and then you get your permit. So this is a very similar process. If all of those checks and boxes are not clear and you have additional information, you as a committee can ask for a very detailed plan, additional information going forward. Part of the information that is turned into the NECs on the EDP IL1 has a clinical verification form. On that form, it is required for the academic institution to put down all of their schools that are using the clinical facility that they're looking at. And then it has even the number of students. So I'm going to pull that up really quick so you guys can take a look at this form. It is a requirement that we have that is in regulation. And so I'm going to share my screen for a second.
Lori, I
so
just
that
want to
you guys-
remind you that this is an enrollment increase, not, just so you know, you remember, and everybody knows, this is an enrollment increase, not a feasibility. Thank you.
Correct, it is. So I want to share this because this might be a helpful item. In a second. Sorry, Microsoft. There we go. To kind of demonstrate the amount of information that we're considering, and I'll kind of go through this just because I know we've got a lot of people on the line for this. So in our search, I'm just going to type in, just because I know it's the EDP I01. And right here is the form. And so this is what we use for new campus locations, feasibility, self-studies. And it's called the facility verification form. Down here, it actually says to provide the following information on all other schools utilizing your facility. Schools, the category of students, the number of students, the days and hours, semesters, unit used. And this one here says whether or not they have the ability to offer spaces to the new program or not offer spaces to the new program. So this is the amount of depth that you could, as a board, request if you choose to, if you feel you don't have the ability to make the decision today. I'm going to back up from this and show you what we typically use for currently approved programs that just want to grow. And that is in 16 CCR 1427. And in that statement here, we say that the program can only use a facility for clinical experience that meet the objectives. They do have to maintain written agreements. And part of that is D. And it says for these currently approved programs, in selecting a new clinical agency or facility for student placement, the program shall take into consideration the impact that an additional group of students would have on students of other nursing programs already assigned to the agency or facility. The reason I share that, it says an additional group. So that could be truly one group of additional 5 students, or even a preceptor, one single person, because that is a group, that is a group, a clinical group at that point. They're not going to know, the school that is requesting to grow will not know what those nursing programs already assigned to the agency or facility are if they do not get that same information from the clinical site that they're working with. So they still have to ask that question, they still have to find out that information, and then they need to take that into consideration on what an impact would be. If all of that has been done, the school that is asking to grow has done their due diligence, and our board would make the decision based on that. If this school that is asking to grow is not using a clinical site that a program is saying they're impacted with, then that can't necessarily be taken into consideration, right? So if we have a program that shows up in public comment that says, I use facility Z and I'm impacted, and I can't grow because facility Z doesn't have anything for me, but this program is not using facility Z, they're only using facility A, we can only take into consideration the impact of facility A. Because again, on our 1427 clinical facilities, if they want to go to facility Z in the future, because they're looking to expand into that clinical space, they have to go through this process again, where they reach out to the facility, find out who is using it, and then do their due diligence to do that before they turn that into the NEC to be approved. So that is a process that is ongoing for all approved programs, not specific to an enrollment increase. And so we really do, again, fall back onto that prior mention that I mentioned at the beginning of this section, is if they misrepresent what they're doing to us and we hear about that, then we have the ability to make them correct that, up to and including removing their approval. So that would not be something that I believe any academic institution would want. The whole purpose is to allow them to continue and to serve the students and provide a nursing pipeline to California, et cetera. So we can get that detailed information if you guys need to, and that can be requested to be presented to the board in August if you feel that you need that detailed of information to show that that growth of students is not going to have a negative effect on the community. That is absolutely within your ability and supported within our laws. If you feel you have enough decision to make an ability to approve, then you can do that today, or you can defer to the board, make a decision at board, or if again, there's more information that needs to be presented at board, you can defer down the road. Sometimes permitting processes, I've been involved in them, take years. You know, you need to make sure that you as a board have ample information to be able to make the decision and feel good about it.
Thank you, Lori.
Well, my concern, of course, is that we heard from a couple of schools in Region 4 that say they will be directly affected and their students will have placement issues if we approve this. And before public comment, we were kind of told that wasn't going to happen. So, you know, rock in a hard place. It's really hard to make a decision on these issues.
So then at that point, I think what would be necessary is Samuel Merritt should provide a list of the clinical sites that they are intending to use in that area, a list of programs that utilize those sites, and give that information to the board whether or not it's going to displace them. If we want to open back up to public comment, we can, and we can get specific clinical sites that they believe are impacted from our programs, if that would help, or if they want to give that. But if Samuel Merritt says they're using facility A and a program says I'm impacted at facility Z, that's a difficult thing to rectify, right? Because Samuel Merritt is specific. They're saying I'm not using facility Z. I'm using facility A, and facility A says there are 3 schools there, and I've met with those 3 schools, and there's not an impaction that's going to occur, because that's the information that we have to go on. If Samuel Merritt intends to use facility A and there are 2 schools that are there, and if they come in and start using it, those 2 schools can no longer use that facility, then that is a direct impact, and that is where the board could say no. You need to find either different clinical sites that do not have an impact, or you can choose at that point to say, we need to defer, you need to look in another area because you're still continuing to cause the same community impact that concerns us.
Mhm. Trisha, are you thinking we might need a more detailed report?
But I don't know how else to make the decision. I mean, we heard from
Yeah.
2 public schools that say our students will be displaced by this, and we were never contacted. So, you know, I'm afraid we do need more information.
So one other thing, I just want to make sure that's very clear. If they're using a clinical facility that will support their growth of the 48 students and the 24 students. And those facilities are not utilized by a program, they do not have to contact that program. So it is not a requirement for the school to contact every single school that's in that area. So there may be schools that they did not contact because they're not using a facility that they utilize. So just to be very clear, our programs do not have to contact every single school. That is not a requirement. They have to contact the schools that use the same clinical site that they intend to use. Just so that we're very clear on that. And if they are able to
thank
show
you for that clarification. Thank you for that clarification. We did hear that one school was not contacted and will be directly and has students placed at a facility. And, you know, so I don't know what to do with that.
Committee members, Dr. Rush would like to speak again with your permission.
Sure. I just have one quick question. Dr. Rush?
Yes, he's on.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi. Now, will you be using St. Joseph's Hospital in Stockton and also San Joaquin General?
Those hospitals are hospitals that we have reached out to and said that they could accommodate us. And I think your question is a good one. That's really what I wanted to speak to. Two things. One is we did contact that person, said they weren't contacted. We have the emails to just demonstrate that and follow up. There was no response, and phone calls with voicemail messages left. So we did attempt. That's all you can do. You can just keep attempting over and over, which we did multiple times for the past 6 to 8 weeks. But as far as clinical placements, as Jennifer Holt, who is a clinical education person, spoke earlier, you can come up here in front of the board and say, this is going to impact us. That's really anecdotal. That's something that you might feel an impression that it's getting harder and harder. Yes, it is getting harder and harder. That's why the process is in place to provide the information in advance to the NEC. Our NEC is Dr. McCarthy. She reviewed our application. We showed that we have actually in excess of the number of clinical placements we need to accommodate this growth. In excess. Okay, and when with the numbers and the data we get are directly from the hospitals who say, thank you for reaching out. I have placements with this school, with this school, with this school. What are you requesting? We tell them what we are requesting and they say, yes, we can accommodate that without displacement. The EDP 18 form you sign off on that, it says without displacement. We're not displacing anyone. The school, I can't imagine being Miss Holt or other people in her role wanting to displace anybody or telling somebody, yes, we'll take you as a new cohort and displace. And there's been a couple comments made that I just have to comment on, is that we're not trying to sneak in. Somebody said we're trying to slip something in. We're trying to go through the back door. How will you know if we don't stay in Region 1? That was discussed a couple months ago. We will have that annual report, just as every school does in December, that says where our clinicals are. We're going to have our students know up front that their clinicals will be in very rural areas, some small critical access hospitals. This has not been easy to find the clinical sites. However, what's been the easy part is when you reach out to these hospitals and they say, thank you, we would like to have more BSN students. Absolutely, it helps us fill our pipeline for hiring BSN students. We have met every criteria. We've exceeded every criteria. And for 2 or 3 people to get up and voice their opposition should not be enough to derail what the actual process is required by the BRN.
So Dr. Rush, I'm going to jump in real quick. I understand you are using the facilities and they're saying they're not displacing. That is not a BRN requirement. I understand that they do sign that on the EDP 18. However, the requirement for the clinical placement in 16 CCR 1427 is that you show how you're not going to displace current nursing students, schools, not that the healthcare facility says we're not going to do it, right? So that is something that has been brought up several times over the past couple of years from our schools that wish to grow, as they say, have all these 18s, they're all signed, all of these facilities have said they're not going to displace. We as a BRN have no authority over facilities. So they can say they're not going to displace, they can say they will displace. We have nothing we can do about that. The only authority that we do have is over our academic institutions. And so per our regulations, it's a requirement that you work with the nursing programs that are already using that facility, not rely on the facility saying they won't do it. So I understand you've done your due diligence with that, but I do really need to make sure that that is a clear delineation. We have in the past many times heard from facilities saying they are not going to displace based on this new agreement with an upcoming school, a new campus, or a current one. And we hear repeatedly that that does occur. We don't have the authority to go after that clinical facility and say, you guys said you weren't going to do this and you did it. We have no ability to even address that. That is outside of our jurisdiction. So what we have to rely on as a board is the academic institutions working in collaboration to be able to ensure that you guys take that into consideration. We show how that displacement is going to not occur, because the students that are currently enrolled in the programs in that area do take priority over a new school coming into that area. We have to sustain the ability for a student who has entered a program on contract that says it's going to take 2 years or 4 years for them to complete, and they have said that they have the resources to support that. We need to allow them to be able to complete and graduate with those current resources. If those resources are removed because of issues with clinical placements, those students that are currently enrolled are not able to complete and graduate. And that's the priority over new students possibly enrolling to a potential new program. So that is where we're really kind of struck as a board to be able to balance that. Again, we are not asking as a board for current programs to approve a growth of a new school. That is not what's occurring. You as the new school that wants to either grow into an area or, become a new program has to show how you're going to come into that area and not have an impact. So I think the impasse that we're on today is our board committee members do not have that level of specificity that says, and it's probably similar to like your EDP 11 form, which I'm sure you turned in. But what we'll do is we'll have to bring that forward to our board in August that says, here is the EDP 11 form. This shows where every planned new student is going to go to a clinical. And then based on that, we would need to ensure that those clinicals that you guys are planning to use for that increase of 72 students, that it doesn't negatively impact current nursing programs in that area. If you have that already turned into Marianne will be able to present that in August for our board to see. That will become part of our board materials, and our board would be able to make a better decision at that point. If you don't have that, or if Marianne discovers they need more specification of that, then that would be the materials that we would add to the board meeting for August to be able to make this decision. Our board does have to take into consider public comment. This is a committee that makes recommendation. This is not a no, just so you know. Nothing becomes a yes or a no until we are there in August. So if you're able to get that information that adequately addresses the issues that were brought up in public comment, that our board can feel that they can make a good decision come August, you still have a potential of being approved for this in August. You can also alter your clinical sites between now and then to ensure that you've addressed those yourself. That says, I heard in public comment, this person says it will be displaced if we use this clinical site. I'm choosing no longer to use that site. I will now utilize this site that doesn't have that. You have the ability as a program to do that, to present the best picture forward in August. And if our board is able to determine that there's not a negative impact on the currently approved programs in that area, they can still approve you. So this is not an end. This is the board committee saying we need more information to make that decision come August, and you have the ability to answer that.
Thank you for that. No, really, seriously, thank you for that. I just feel that information that is being suggested be prepared and presented at the August full board meeting was prepared and presented for this meeting adequately in our proposal, working closely with Dr. McCarthy. We we did feel that we had met all the criteria. I still feel we've met all the criteria, and that it's again been derailed because of some public comment that cannot be substantiated. That is, frankly, some of it untrue. And so it will certainly, I know, persuade the ELC committee members, but the packet is the packet. It's strong, it's well prepared. We've met all criteria for this enrollment increase.
And so Dr. Rush, if you're able to prove that it is not substantiated and bring that forward in August, because again, our board has materials presented by you and by the NEC in advance of this meeting, right? And they were, it looks to me, prepared to approve it. That was the motion in the second that was out there. They went to public comment. That was new information received. They can't ignore public comment. So what now needs to occur is that public comment needs to be addressed. If you are able to show in August that what was said in public comment was not accurate, and this is why, by showing your clinical placements, by showing that you're not going to have an impaction, then you're able to do that. If in public comment they said that you would cause displacement, and you determine that you will change your path and not use that clinical placement to accommodate that, you have the ability to share that at that point. A decision to grant this can still occur in August. Our committee is just asking for information for you now to specifically address the public comment that was received so that they can feel that they've taken in all consideration and that has been done. This can go back and forth because as the board receives more information that is new, they have to take that into consideration. This can become a long drawn out process until those are there. Again, reiterating that a school cannot say, I don't want Samuel Merritt to grow. The school has to specifically state that they are displaced if you use this site. If that is accurate, they have to take that into consideration. If they say they're displaced and you're not using that site, our board does not have to take that into consideration because in fact, that would not be accurate. So hopefully with that clarification, we can just get that documentation cleared, have it ready for August to address the public comment that was brought up in today, and a decision can be made in August.
Thank you. I'd like to say one more thing too, and that is that I don't think it's fair for schools to not reply to emails and voicemails and come to public comment and make claims that cannot be addressed by our NEC. So I hope that people will be more fair in this process.
Yeah, that was my thought also. Thank you, Tricia, for stating that. So since we're basically asking them to come back in August to the board, do we need to withdraw the motion from the floor?
Well, I am willing to just withdraw. Go ahead.
So just for process, you don't have to withdraw that motion. If you feel that you will get that data to that Marianne will be able to add that into the materials, and you believe that what you're going to hear is going to substantiate what Samuel Merritt is saying, that they are not causing an impact, you can leave that on the table. You definitely can. You can withdraw it and say, you know, I'm going to defer to the full board to make that decision. Absolutely. But we do have this time period to do that. It can also be at that point, if you made that motion pending, you know, I make a recommendation to do this, and you could amend the motion to say pending the receipt of the documents that show no displacement, right?
Yeah.
If that displacement does occur, then Marianne McCarthy, like she does on many of these items, say, hey, here's an update that has happened between the committee and here. We're going to pull this out and we'll let you know that this is new information. This is what we've done, and we can move forward with that. So you don't have to pull back that motion if you don't want to. You can amend it to add pending the receipt of that information that shows no displacement, or you can withdraw it, take it out of the consent package for board, and put it as, I want them to come forward in board. I want them to share all of the information. I want to have this robust discussion, and no recommendation is coming from ELC. So there are options for you.
I don't have any problem with going ahead with this motion. pending the documents that we have asked for. Other than that, I don't have any issue. Trisha?
I agree with you.
Jovita?
I agree with
Yeah.
you.
So
Yeah,
can I just
I agree with
clarify?
you, Dolores.
Okay, so just to clarify, the motion as stands was to accept the
Yes.
enrollment increase as requested by the board, specific to clinicals being used in Region 4. And you guys are adding an addendum to that motion that says pending the receipt to demonstrate that no clinical impaction will occur at the facilities that they choose to move forward with.
So
Is that
stated.
accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we can take it to a vote. I Jovita votes yes. Oh, did
No, I'm sorry.
did somebody have a comment?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. That's okay. President Trujillo
Trujillo votes yes.
and Trisha Wynn.
Win, yes.
And just
Motion
for
carried.
process, because we did amend the motion, we probably do need a new first and a second from the people that made the first motion, first and the second.
Oh,
Okay, so I move that motion.
Okay.
I believe it's Dolores that second.
Yes. Lori, when you mentioned that earlier before the vote,
What?
I said so stated. Can we use that or do we
Yes.
need to?
Yeah, we just need,
Yeah.
you had one, right? And so I just need a first and a second. So yours, if you were
Okay.
a first, you can do that. Yeah, we don't need to repeat.
Trisha was a first, I was a second.
Cool. So as long as Trisha and Doris, you are okay with that update to it?
Yep.
Pending
you.
the receipt of the information that says the clinical facilities they plan to use to accommodate those 72 students show no displacement, you are willing to continue that increase. If at that point there is displacement shown, then what you guys can do as a board in August is pull Samuel Merritt out of consent and have another discussion and alter that motion at any point during that time, reminding that this committee is only making recommendations to the board. The board has the ability to change and do whatever they want with those recommendations, up to and including making their own motion separate from ELC.
So stated.
Now,
Thank you,
before
Lori.
we move to the next agenda item, I want to let you guys know that Grace has let me know that she's not able to have her camera working, so I don't know if there's staff that can reach out to her. But it is also noon, and I think this would be a good time to have a lunch break for board committee members as well as board staff. So if that's something that would be considered, I would appreciate that. And that will also allow us to troubleshoot Grace to get her back on camera.
Do you think a half hour or 45 minutes?
Completely up to you guys.
I'd love a half hour, but we'll go along with the majority.
I think 30 minutes
I'm
is sufficient.
anything.
Cool.
I'm
Back at
okay with a half
12:30,
an
guys.
hour. All right.
Great. So we'll
Thank
take a
you.
lunch. We'll be back at 12:30, and if board staff can work with Grace to get her camera back on, that'd be great. Thank you, guys.
Marianne McCarthy.
You're on mute, Marianne.
Well, thank you so much. And I got it, Jovita. Thank you so much.
No, thank
Okay,
you.
we're going to move on to 5.0, which is the discussion and possible action regarding requests for enrollment increases for approved nursing programs. So our first program is Citrus College Associate Degree Nursing Program, who is here for an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 93 of your packet. And board moderator, if you would please elevate presenters on the list for Citrus, please. Citrus is requesting an enrollment increase in Los Angeles County, which is Region 8. They currently enroll 30 students annually, and their request is to move to 60 students twice a year for an annual enrollment of 120. Growth data information for Region 8 is in the packet on page 94 and 95. And the program has written an executive summary and submitted it in the materials, which starts on page 96. We do have program representatives here, should you have any questions. Thank you.
Any board members have questions or
Laura's speaking, but
concerns?
she's on mute.
Oh,
Sorry about that. I don't have any questions. This is actually an area in Southern California that could probably support this group.
Tricia?
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
just to
I
be
didn't
clear-
have, I didn't have questions or concerns with this.
Yeah, and just to be clear for the public, it is an region, the LA region, but it's kind of off.
Yeah.
It's not in downtown LA area. It's not in that kind of more area.
Mhm.
So it may be misleading to some by saying that it's in LA. It is, but if you look at where they're trying to grow, it is in a more rural type area near Pomona, I believe. If I'm not accurate, if I'm accurate.
Yeah. Okay, then let's I would like to make a motion to recommend acceptance of the enrollment increase for an approved pre-licensure nursing program, Citrus College associate degree program, which would be the 60 students twice a year, increasing by 90 students annually, bringing the enrollment to from 30 to 120 by increasing the enrollment number and adding a second cohort. The committee, do I have a second?
Win seconds.
Okay. Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you. BRN moderator, can you take us to public comment, please?
Mark, if you're talking, we cannot hear you.
There we
Can
go.
anyone?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Weird. Sorry, we will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Christy Ward would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Christy Ward. I'm the nurse manager for Pomona Valley Hospital, which is in that region. And I just want to say that we are supportive. We met with the school. We're able to accommodate additional clinical on different shifts and days to help meet the needs. And we are supportive of having another community college increase enrollment just because it is a more affordable price for a lot of our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Dr. Kimberly Porter would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So my name is Dr. Porter. I'm the Director of Education for Community Hospital San Bernardino. So I am here to support Citrus College's petition to increase their student enrollment. We've had a very successful partnership with Citrus College in providing clinical rotations to their students for the past few years. And like Chrissy had mentioned, there is a need for these affordable programs in the area. So we do support them, and we have clinical placement opportunities for the new students. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Kathy Hemphill would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Michelle Nava. Stepping in for Kathy Hemphill. We're representing Emanate Health here in the San Gabriel Valley. We do enjoy a very robust partnership with Citrus College. We find their students to be very helpful and professional, and they contribute to their learning experience here at Emanate Health. We're happy to support them in their growth. We're able to implement some flexible schedules without displacing any of our other schools, and we welcome this growth in their program.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. We still have no representation in our Sacramento location. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to take it to a vote. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Agenda item 5.3.3. We received an email yesterday from Marcia First School of Nursing stating the following. Marcia First School of Nursing would like to withdraw its request for an enrollment increase reflected as agenda item 5.3.3 for the Education and Licensing Committee meeting June 17th, 2025. So with your permission, we will move on to the next agenda item.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Agenda item 5.3.4. This is, oh, I'm sorry. Are they 3.4? Yes, they are 3.4. Thank you. Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the request for an increase, enrollment increase for an approved nursing program. This is Simpson University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. And the information about this program is found starting on page 110 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Simpson. So Simpson University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program is located in Redding, California in Shasta County, which is Region 1. The program is requesting an enrollment increase from 54 students to 90 students annually. So they currently enroll 27 students twice a year for an annual enrollment of 56, and they propose to increase to 45 students twice a year for a total of 90 students annually, which is an increase of 36 students annually. The growth information for Region 1 is on page 111, and the program writes an executive summary to submit with the materials, and it starts on 112. We have representatives here. Should you have any questions regarding their request for an enrollment increase? Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to commend the school for having 100% NCLEX pass rate and no attrition for the 23-24 school year. That's impressive. I don't have a problem supporting this. It's in an area that could use more growth for educational opportunities.
I agree with you, Dolores. Very impressive. How about Trisha Wynn?
Thank you very much. I'm also impressed with the numbers and inclined to support this. Marianne, I just had one question about the, so it's Region 1, which makes me think, wow, Region 1 is enormous because even though we've seen a lot of heavy impaction in Sacramento, I'm sure Redding is really different. Could you just, give us just a little coloring of that? I am inclined to support.
Yeah, I think Lori would probably want to speak to that. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, Redding is much more remote and has not been sharing that there is an impact to that. And in fact, you're looking at from Sacramento to Redding, you're 160 plus miles away, right?
Yep.
And that is due north. So it is definitely in an area. So that's the same thing with like the previous one with LA, right? It shows up as region for LA, but this request to grow was more towards Pomona, which is much more rural. it's not in that inundated area. So this is the same process as the previous one to this. It's still showing region 1, but region 1 is large. We're looking at Reading, which is
Great.
160 miles away from Sacramento.
I just wanted to point that out because it is the same region and we were going over one with a fine tooth comb and we're applauding this one. So, I mean, it is, regionally, even though it is the same, region, it really is very different.
Yeah, I live in the Sacramento area, and there's a lot of rural territory between us and Reading. A lot of rural territory. So,
Would we like to make a motion?
I'm happy to make a motion. I recommend the acceptance of the enrollment increase for an approved pre-licensure nursing program, Simpson University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, at 45 students twice a year, increasing by 36 students annually, bringing the enrollment from 56 to 90 students annually.
We
I
have a
second, Jovita.
Thank you.
BRN moderator, may you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. Or Slido, as it's now known. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I would like to give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Moving on to
Did we
agenda item.
did we skip over Marcia first?
Well, remember I
No,
made
we
the
pulled
comment
them.
that they sent us an email
That's
that
right.
requested Marcia First School of Nursing would like to withdraw the request
Yeah.
for an enrollment. Remember? Okay. Okay.
I
Here we
think
go.
President Trujillo was having technical difficulties at
Oh,
that time.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
Thank you.
repeat it, Dolores?
Excuse me?
Do you want me to repeat the Marcia First?
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, no worries. All right, 5.4.1, discussion and possible action regarding a request to grant initial approval of a new pre-licensure nursing program, Gurnick Medical Arts Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, secondary site in San Jose. Information on this program can be found starting on page 118 of the packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate presenters on the list for Gurnick. Gurnick is requesting a secondary campus in San Jose within the Santa Clarita region, Region 3. The San Jose new feasibility study was approved at the February 2025 board meeting with an requested enrollment pattern for 2025. And they have it plotted out. They plotted out June, and you can see all this in the AIS, how they plotted out 25 and 26. And they're asking to change that now. With this initial self-study, they're asking to alter their enrollment request, mostly because they're not going to be able to start in June. They're not going to be able to start until after the board meeting if they get approved in August. So their request is now for September of 2025 to have 56 students instead of the approved 84 students because they're starting later. And in 2026 and forward, they want to enroll 3 times a year: January 56, May 28 students, and September 28 students, for an annual enrollment of 112 students. So the overall number has not changed. They're just changing the pattern because they need to start later as they went through the feasibility and then the self-study process. Data growth for Region 3 is on page 121 or 120 and 121. And they have also written an executive summary to submit to you in the materials, which starts on page 122. Representatives are here, should you have any questions. Thank you.
Marianne, I have a question.
Sure.
So in your graph on page 120, Gurnick Academy, we approved in January of 25 a new campus. So this is an amendment to that.
Well,
Is that
that
right?
was their feasibility study. So we had to go through the feasibility study first because it's a new campus.
Thank
So
you.
they had to
Okay.
go through and be approved for that. And then
Thank you.
after that, they have to go through the self-study process, and that's what they're in right now.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And they did adjust the numbers because they have to go through the feasibility, which they did, and now the self-study before they get permission from the board. If they approve them in August, then they can start after that.
Thank you. Okay, I just was a little confused. And the only other question I have, and I think it's for you, is this little, change in the enrollment pattern. Do you anticipate that will create with that kind of, bump in enrollment on one of the three, semesters? What do you think that will be a problem with clinical placements, or does this seem okay? We're enrolling 56 in January and then in May, 28 and 28.
Right. Lori, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I definitely can. So I believe the only change is they plan to enroll a part in June. And I think the only change is they removed enrolling in June since we're approving them, potentially approving them in June. But the rest of that was what was approved previously.
Okay.
And then just to be completely clear, you guys as a committee and ultimately a board voted that this was feasible, that this area was okay, and this has already been taken into account. The only thing that we're doing here today is not considering the location unless something had greatly changed.
Right.
We are just presenting that they have met all the rules and regulations and now
Great.
they're okay to open and start enrolling students. We will just for
That's
future.
helpful.
Yeah, we're going to change the way that we do our agenda item summary on these. It becomes very kind of muddled. It looks to me that the information that was presented on feasibility is also the same information presented on self-study. And there's a small sentence at the very end that says they've met all the board's rules and regulations and that they've done a virtual visit. That seems to be the much more important information there. And we're going to work together to try to make that more clear so that you're not as confused as you are today right now, Tricia. And we don't have to keep going through this because that regional data, that feasibility stuff, that was already considered previously, like you mentioned in January. So that stuff should not be brought forward for this consideration. This should be more like our continuing approval visits that say, we've looked at everything, everything's good, they've met all the rules and regulations, they should start enrolling. So that was something that we noticed as a staff. You're also bringing it up here, so we will be addressing this moving forward. It just didn't make it for this cutoff. So expect
there's a
those
separate
changes to
template
be
for self-study. So we'll work on using that for the self-study part.
We'll work to update that probably October, November, if we can.
Absolutely.
If we can't, then it'll move to January, February, but we're working to make that a better process.
Cool. Thank you.
Definitely October, November, because we already have everything in place. No worries. Do we want to make a motion?
Yes, thank you. I recommend granting initial approval of a secondary campus in San Jose, requesting Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts baccalaureate degree nursing program with an enrollment pattern that differs from the previously approved enrollment pattern, different from the feasibility study. September 2025, enroll 56 students, 28 generic and 28 advanced placement, and a total of 56 new BSN students for the year for 2026 and ongoing every January enrollment, 56 students, 28 generic, 28 advanced placement students, and each May and September enroll 28 generic students for a total of annual enrollment of 112.
I'll
Do I have a
second it.
second? Okay,
Win
thank you,
seconds.
Trisha.
Thank you.
Thank you. BR moderator, can you take us to public comment,
We will be opening for public
please?
comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Win, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Agenda item 5.5.1, discussion and possible action regarding a request to accept a feasibility study for a new pre-licensure nursing program. This request for a secondary campus in San Jose is from Unitec College Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. Information on this program can be found starting on page 129 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Unitec. Unitec has submitted a feasibility study requesting approval of an alternate site pre-licensure BSN program at the San Jose campus. San Jose is in the Santa Clarita County Region 3. The enrollment request is for 40 students 3 times a year for an annual enrollment of 120 students. The growth and data information on Region 3 is on page 131 and 132 of your packet. And the program wrote an executive summary to be submitted in the materials that starts on page 133. Program representatives are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Well,
okay.
I mean, like a lot of these, you know, increases that we see, I think, you know, San Jose has really experienced a lot of growth over the last 5 years. And I'm just kind of wondering how, this is the second site, right?
This is.
Oh, it's a new location for a currently approved site.
Yeah, they were asking for a secondary site at their San Jose campus to add a nursing cohort.
With 120 new students?
40 students 3 times a year. And again, when Gurnick came forward last for their feasibility, we talked a little bit about the San Jose area. And at that time, which again was what, April, May, we talked about how there hasn't been a lot of discussion about San Jose area itself. And we have talked a lot about Sacramento, and we've talked a lot about the Bay Area. But I believe, if I'm not wrong, that Gurnick has been the first one to come into the San Jose area recently.
Well, it looks like, I mean, just looking at your graph. Oh, I guess Contra, okay, I'm sorry. I misread the chart.
That's
I
okay,
was
no
thinking
worries.
that was all San Jose, but it's actually Alameda and Contra Costa. Okay, thank you.
No worries. did we want to make a
Dolores, do you have
motion?
any questions or concerns?
You're on mute, Dolores. It's okay. We all
Sorry.
do it.
I didn't want to hear you. I didn't want my crunching away at something to come over the mic.
Did you have anything to
Um,
add or ask?
I'm becoming concerned that the San Jose area is slowly becoming impacted. But I think at this point right now, I don't have an issue with this. But I think it's something that warrants watching for us as a board.
Agreed.
So we can make the motion.
Okay. We recommend acceptance of the feasibility study of the new pre-licensure nursing program secondary campus in San Jose, requested by Unitech College Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern of 40 students 3 times a year for an annual enrollment of 120.
And the rest of that, I think, is just information. But if the feasibility is accepted, the program applicant may appoint a program director and begin. So that will go forward. Your recommendation will go forward to the board for that vote.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. This is
Thank you,
Dolores.
President Trujillo. BRN moderator, would you take us to please public comment? Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their requests for comment. I have activated Slido. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing in the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public. Type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our Sacramento location. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 5.5.2. This is a discussion and possible action regarding a request to accept a feasibility study for a new pre-licensure nursing program. So different from the last one, that was a secondary site for an already approved program. This is a brand new site, or a brand new program, I'm sorry. California Nurses Educational Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program. Information on this program can be found starting on page 139. And board moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for CNEI. So California Nurses Educational Institute submitted a feasibility study for a new baccalaureate program in Rancho Mirage, California. CNEA is in the Palm Desert. It is in Southern California in the Coachella Valley area of Riverside County, which is Region 7. The requested enrollment is 40 generic students each spring and 50 advanced placement students each summer for an annual enrollment of 90 students. The growth information is for Region 7 is on page 141. And their executive summary that explains what they're doing and why starts on page 142. We have program representatives here to speak to this feasibility study if needed. Thank you.
I have just a question about the materials, the meeting materials. So on page 139, this is a table I haven't seen before. Pre-licensure programs contacted by CNEI, and we have included that in our report. This is super helpful to me. I'm just wondering if, you know, if staff had an opportunity to actually confirm this. I'm assuming we got it from the applicant.
Yes, we got it from the applicant, and we do get it from all applicants. We just give them an option whether they want to put it into their executive summary or not. We keep it in their file if they have other things that they want to say, or they write it out in narrative. A lot of times they
Well,
write
I mean,
it out
it
in
is
narrative.
helpful to us that,
okay,
you know, to see which programs were contacted and what the response was.
Mm-hmm.
Just for clarification, we will have to alter this slightly. The response where it says positive uses IEHEC. We will need to, if we do include this going forward, remove that positive kind of thing, right? What we need to really make sure that we're doing is we're not asking these schools to agree or disagree. What we're asking these schools is to say whether or not they will have displacement or not by using that. So the uses IEHEC is perfect. And what we'll have to update on this table, and I missed this on review, and I apologize for that, will have to be displacement or no displacement. That is what needs to be noted, not positive or negative or in support or not support.
Right. I also don't think that's a school. I think that's a system that they use for clinical placements, which we're trying to look at the schools they've reached out to.
Well,
yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, that's what I reacted to, that word positive. It's like, oh, okay.
We need to not have positives. What we need to is where it says College of the Desert, Sarah Fry and Michelle French. That's the school, the contact. They made the contact on 9/16. They emailed, and what it needs to say on response is displacement or no displacement.
It's okay.
And what facility, not positive and what facility, right?
Thank you.
That's what needs to be there. The other thing is, is many times this is the level of information and even more detail that is submitted, but the NEC in talking with the program, they don't submit all of that stuff to the board for public. We do have some schools and some healthcare facilities who request us not to share who they are contracted with in a public forum. And so, because we have no authority or jurisdiction over the healthcare agencies, if they do not want their information shared with us, we honor that and don't share that in a public forum. So the NECs will review that and do that because that's something that they have asked for it. The next thing is just to clarify the question that you had asked, Tricia, where it said, has the NEC verified this information? That was something that a board member many years ago had requested to be done. And we were told that that was not something that our NECs should do with this specific information. Because this information, we have to hold our schools accountable to that, right? Per that misinformation kind of presentation or misrepresented presentation, that needs to live on the school's shoulders for that. So the school has an expectation that the information that they present to the board is accurate and truthful. The NEC does not have the ability to reach out to every single facility, ask for all of the schools that are partnered with them, and then reach out to all the schools to verify that this has occurred for each one of these. And so it does rely heavily on the academic institution presenting the truthful data. If we find out that that data is not accurate, then we will bring that school forward and we can do disciplinary kind of process up to and including removing their approval if they willingly and knowingly misrepresent information to the board that is required by the board.
Thank you, Lori. So with that said, because it showed up in the staff report, it almost looked like the staff was saying that. So I find that extremely helpful, but if the staff is not verifying, and I'm not asking the staff to verify, but if they are not, I'd rather see that in the
Executive.
report by the school rather than in the staff report.
Perfect, perfect. And I think we can do that. So if this clinical information that's not vetted, that they've reached out to everybody, that would then be a request that would be added to the executive summary. We could work on a process to ask for that going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dolores, do you have any questions?
No, I
I
don't.
just want to make sure we just kind of, one item of consideration. This is Palm Desert, Palm Springs, Ontario-ish kind of area, right? And so one thing that I'm always very conscientious of and want to make sure you guys are aware of, San Diego is impacted. They look for clinical spaces in this area and have been known to use clinical spaces in this area. LA, Ontario is impacted. They have looked and utilized clinical placements in this area. So just to have that in the back of your head when you're doing this, because we are getting to a point within our state where, as we see, they might have a campus location someplace and clinical locations elsewhere. So this might be one that you may consider opening up to public comment before you make a motion. If you want to see that it's not causing anything in those locations. But you could also make a motion and then go to public comment and alter it if you need to at that point. But this is an area that are mostly impacted areas, LA and San Diego, do tend to branch out towards to find clinical placements.
I think for me, I would like to hear public comment before we make a motion.
I agree. BRN moderator, can you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated Slido, the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Susan Sportsman would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Susan Sportsman. I'm the managing director of Collaborative Momentum Consulting and a registered nurse and a faculty and dean and so forth. And I just wanted to say that I have worked with this school as they've been developing their feasibility study. I've been impressed with their thoughtfulness of this, and so I certainly stand in support. I unfortunately don't know anything about the clinical site, so I can't add to that, but I'm impressed with their work.
Thank you for your comment. Renee King would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, Renee. Renee. Renee, are you there?
Mark, you may try to elevate to a panelist real quick and see if they're able to do that, or reopen Slido to see if they can
Oh,
type.
hold on. No, she's unmuted. I heard her breathe. Renee, can you speak?
Associate Dean of Nursing and Allied Health at Imperial Valley College. I had a chance to speak with Program Director Gentry. I don't remember exactly when it was. He called asking about his interest in potentially seeking this enrollment. I mentioned to him at the same time that we were also looking to increase our enrollment at Imperial County. So I see that this is for Region 7, but this may have an impact for Region 10. When we had submitted our own enrollment increase, we had a slight pushback from one of our local academic partners for clinical placements, and that's one of the things that I would only want to bring up as well. If we're able to get to maximum clinical placements, we'll have about 270 RN students. And I do see that the CNEI does accept students from Imperial County. So we pretty much have a shared geographic placement of opportunity. So just wanted to pose that to the board, that we are still underway with our enrollment increase, and I don't know if that would be a problem moving forward. As of right now, we are coordinating with our clinical providers for placements and not to displace any students. And I do see that CNEI is looking to place students during the summer session when we're generally not on contract. So if there's anything in the future that may be available, I would welcome that. That's all. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I'm going to go back to Renee. We'll try Renee again. Okay, Renee, I'm going to try you again. If you can unmute yourself. 1 second. Okay, you're unmuted. Are you able to speak? Would you like to type your question in the chat? The chat has been activated if you want to do the chat, or your comment, should I say. Okay, I have nothing in the chat either. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no in-person representation in our location in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Board members, do you think that we're okay to recommend, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess one of the concerns I have is someone brought up, well, San Diego is impacted, and so they, look in this region for placements, and Orange County is impacted and they look in this region, LA is impacted. I mean, is that something that we can kind of take into consideration? Because I don't know how to evaluate that.
Yes and no. So nobody showed up in public comment saying that it was going to displace. So at that point, we don't have anything saying that there's displacement occurring from this school potentially having these new things. So I think based on that, you would not have to take that into consideration. If they showed up from those areas and said, I use clinicals at this location, they're using Eisenhower Medical Center, I use Eisenhower Medical Center. If they grow and use Eisenhower Medical Center, I will be displaced. That's when you take that into consideration. So even hearing from IDC, he said, hey, these are things that we're looking at when we do want to grow. These are things we're talking, but it looks like they will not because they're using this placement in summer. So there has been nothing brought up and nothing turned in from the proposed academic institution to show that there is displacement for them coming in. So they have met the requirements, nothing has been brought forward. And I believe that you could make an affirmative decision based on the data that's been presented.
But that being said, I'd be happy to make a motion. So I recommend the acceptance of the feasibility study for a new pre-licensure nursing program requested by California Nurses Educational Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern of 40 generic students each spring and 50 advanced placement students each summer for an annual enrollment of 90 students.
Jovita seconds.
Thank you. I think we could take it to a vote since we've already gone to public comment. Right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Wynn, yes.
Motion carries. And I believe that takes us to adjournment.